Rockbeard presents 10 of the strangest phobias. Number 1. The fear of everything. Imagine this, living your life where literally everything scares you. Well, strangely enough, that's not actually what this phobia translates to. It more so means that the person who has this phobia can go through everyday life feeling happy and so on, but they believe that there is some dark, persistent evil that lurks over everyone, and that's their fear. Number 2. The morbid fear of developing a phobia. Let me say that again. The morbid fear of developing a phobia. Phobophobia is the fear of developing a fear. Well, wait a second, it's already a fear, so in that case, isn't phobophobia essentially a self-referential disorder? It would seem so. This is such a ridiculously complicated fear that it seems more like a paradox or brain teaser than a legitimate fear, which is why I really pity any individual suffering from it. Number 3. The preference by a phobic for fearful situations. This is an arcane, mind-bending phobia if there ever was one. So we have a phobic, and this person actually seeks out those situations or objects that cause them intense discomfort and fear. This may sound like some sort of strange, twisted masochistic syndrome, but it's thought that counterphobes engage in these activities in an effort to combat their phobia. Number 4. The fear of the passing of time, or more generally, of time itself. Stretching this fear to its logical conclusion, one would assume that the fear of time also entails the fear of concepts pertaining to time, such as the past, present, the future, and words like later, early, etc. Even if chronophobes aren't afraid of words or ideas pertaining to time, they are afraid of time itself and of its passage. And as human beings, we are all well aware that time is constantly ticking away. Number 5. The morbid fear of sounds, including your own voice. We are now moving into the territory of even more bizarrely limiting phobias. How does one live a normal life as an acousticophobe? Do you live in a soundproof room? Do you walk around with earplugs? Do you convince a doctor to surgically make you deaf? Number 6. The fear of food. Food is required to live. Cyberphobes are frightened by food. This means such people have two options. 1. Avoid food altogether, thereby killing themselves through malnutrition and dehydration, which is clearly not a viable or attractive prospect. Or 2. Stay alive by eating food and dealing with bone-chilling tremors every time a spoonful of cereal approaches their mouth. Number 7. The fear of sleep. Just like the aforementioned phobia, this one involves something we all need to stay alive. Precious shut-eye. But whereas one might be able to go a few days without food and thereby dampen the effects of cyberphobia, it is much harder to remain functional even after a single day of sleepless activity. Number 8. The fear of knowledge. No school, no education, no introduction of any new facts of any sort. Developing epistimophobia is akin to placing a cognitive cap on your development. You can't learn any more unless you're willing to withstand unrelenting terror throughout the entire process, which would also obviously impair your ability to even comprehend the new material in the first place. Number 9. The fear of making decisions. As you can see, some phobias have profound psychological consequences. If someone is deathly afraid of making a decision, then how do they go about life? Do they instruct others to make a decision for them? Isn't that a decision in itself? Do they simply follow a real-life equivalent of stream of consciousness, simply going with the flow and not interfering with the normal course of events? But isn't that a decision too? Number 10. The fear of walking or standing. Imagine the implications of such a fear. The mere thought of standing or walking around fills you with utter terror. How in the world do you live a normal life? You certainly can't travel around in a motorized chair all the time. Unfortunately for ambulophobes, human flying has not been achieved either. Alright, thanks for watching another amazing video, and please remember to hit the subscribe box for many more.